Hello, 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 and welcome to the Rag Company podcast. Yet another week with Levi and Anthony and myself, Dane.
Guys? What's up?
And we're at episode 40 now, so we have officially reached
the hill?
early middle age.
Maybe.
What's over the hill? Is it 40 over the hill?
Yeah, 40.
Yeah,
Man, so we're technically on the hill.
We're on top of the hill.
We're on it.
Now it's all downhill from here.
Yeah.
don't be the guy who dies on that hill. Yeah. Well,
Why'd
I got
you say
sad.
that, Dane.
All
Yeah.
right,
Moving on.
I jinxed it.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of dying on hills, there's a whole lot of. I'm just kidding. Arguments online. No
Dying
shortage.
on hills.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, I'm just all over the place. But you know what? We had some stuff happen over the weekend.
Yeah.
I want to give.
Tell us about your weekend first off.
Well,
Dane.
that makes it pretty easy because I just had a birthday. So.
Dane turned a ripe old age
Yeah.
of 40.
What?
Wait,
wow,
no.
I feel like I
aged you 11 years. Wow.
29 actually. But anyway.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, just
I
went
see.
out, saw Avengers
So my
Infinity
folks
War.
used to- yeah,
got
good
some
stuff,
Grimaldi's coal fire
Now we can
pizza.
talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, because
yeah.
you guys
didn't
haven't
see it
heard
yet?
it.
Sorry.
or
Well,
seen
we
it.
don't want to ruin anything for you.
So what did you
there's
think,
that.
though?
I thought, for as complex of
yeah.
a story that you're trying to tell there, I really appreciated how they just basically said, we assume you've seen all the other movies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're just going to get right into it. And if
The only
you
one
can't
I
handle
haven't
that,
seen
we're
was
really
Black
sorry.
Panther yet.
But
Same.
So,
so
but
yeah.
I was fine.
No, it was great if you've seen the other ones. If you haven't, there's probably a few you could have missed and you'd still be okay. But for the most part, it was just.
Yeah, it was really good. And
Yes,
It was a lot. It was heavy.
If you haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, you should probably see Thor
Definitely.
Ragnarok
That's
before you see.
Probably my
Infinity
favorite
War.
out of all the Marvel
Because
movies.
it's made more sense and fun because it combined
Correct.
Doctor Strange, it combined,
Yeah.
no,
there's
Hulk and
so
Thor.
much
and
fun
it's just
stuff.
you gave you a little more.
I mean, let's not,
which is good.
forget that this is basically just a license to print money for them.
Oh,
but
yeah,
at the same
yeah.
time, the fact that they actually try is really appreciated.
Yeah,
'cause
it was really
there's franchises out there that just basically go, money.
good. So you got cheesecake on your birthday,
Yes.
courtesy of the TRC family.
I am a cheesecake fan. So, well, I was happy I got to share it with the whole office. So
Except for
everybody
me,
got to
I
have
showed up.
cheesecake.
I was off that day, so I didn't.
Yeah, well,
I was
that's not
seeing
my
Infinity
fault.
War. So
Yeah.
Hey.
Okay. Well, any rate, that was my weekend.
Nice.
Just simple. Turned
Easy.
29. Yeah.
Cool.
So,
Cool.
what
Levi?
about you guys?
Levi, what did you do?
I am
you,
in
you
the-
have a busy weekend.
I have a busy weekend. So my weekend was nice. I actually got to hang out and just relax for a little bit. I detailed my aunt's car. She came up from Utah with her daughter and her grandson, her daughter's son. And they just came up for like a girls' weekend kind of thing to come up and hang out with our family. And they went shopping with my wife and stuff. But my aunt had me detail her car, and she always likes to have me do something on her car whenever she comes to visit. And so I did her interior.
Nice.
And gave it just a quick wash, and I threw down some bead maker on top of it.
Ooh, we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. So it was so she loved it. It was great. And, made a little extra cash for fun, and then but it was good. But this is the calm before the storm.
Yeah.
We close on both our houses tomorrow, and it is going to be a mad dash because my wife and I unexpectedly, we planned all this ourselves. Maybe I just wasn't thinking about it when
You
we
shot
planned it
yourself
off.
in the foot.
It was just kind of like it slipped out and then it became
accident.
law.
On accident,
Yeah,
yeah.
accident. Yeah.
Well, the new owners wanted to rent back the house to us, and we were like, yeah, that's great. And they did. They offered a little more money than we were paying on our mortgage. And we were like, and so we thought, well, let's do it in a week. We'll just get out. We'll move into the new house. It'll be great. I forgot that we were actually getting out in a week. And so, needless to say, I was a little stressed yesterday when I realized we had to be out of our house by Saturday.
Just a little bit of stuff going on.
However, our house is staged. We have packed everything. I've got stuff in the storage unit. I've got stuff ready to be loaded into a truck that's in the garage. All the stuff's in the garage. So it's not a bad move. It's just going to be very stressful and a lot of work from
a lot happening in a very short amount of
basically
time.
from tomorrow night until Saturday at midnight.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of work ahead of me. But that'll be good. And then once I'm done moving, I have about 3 days and then I leave for Puerto Rico Wednesday morning.
And then he's
Puerto Rico.
So I'll be gone for like a week. I'm going down there.
Down there.
Yeah, I'm going down with the Rupes team with Jason Rose and Todd Helmy and Alberto Kinscabara, and so we're
bunch of cool guys.
Yeah, so we're going down there to Distributors to teach a class, a Rupes training class down there. So I'm excited because not only do I get to be a Rupes trainer with them, but I get to go as a Rag Company employee, fully decked out in Rag Company gear.
I was going to say it's really cool
because they're going to become a distributor. Distributors is going to become a distributor for us for the Caribbean.
You're going down there with more credentials than ever, right?
Yeah.
IDA credentials. You got your
CDSB,
Rupes.
RT, and then
it's that RT that really seals the deal.
So it'll be fun. I'm really excited and looking forward to it. I've never been there. So,
should be fun.
I've got to keep practicing my
I
Spanish.
wonder what the food's like.
I hear it's amazing. I heard Puerto Rican food's amazing.
I'm all about food, guys. So whenever we travel, that's the first thing I'm thinking about. Is
we hit
food.
places like In-N-Out and Famous Dave's.
real adventurous
real
souls
amazing,
here.
local fare, fresh local
The only
fare.
times that Anthony's not eating are when we're on this podcast. Literally, as soon as he's off camera, he's eating it.
Like I eat before and then I eat after. Well, because they won't let me eat. I want to eat rice cakes in here, but I don't think you guys want to listen to the crunch of rice cakes. But
you could eat. You just have to clean up. That's all.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so anyway, it's going to be fun. So next week, I've got one more podcast on Monday, and then I'll be gone, and then you guys will be on your own the following week.
Yeah.
And then I'll fly back in Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So it's going to be crazy, but so big week of moving, and then getting ready for.
You're gonna need some. You're gonna need some serious some energy. You're gonna need to be pounding down that Diet Pepsi.
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Get yourself an IV, like get yourself an IV. Just keep you going. That small caffeinated.
I packed 2-liter bottles in my suitcase.
You're like, I brought 2 shirts, some socks, and a pair of underwear. The rest is all Diet Pepsi.
Can you wear Diet Pepsi? Yeah. Please don't.
Sponsored by Diet. You go down there like your Rupes shirt actually has a Diet Pepsi badge stitched onto it. People are like, is that a Pepsi logo? And you're like, well, this is what keeps me going.
He's just over here dressed up like Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, I'll be like also sponsored logo.
Guys,
we should write that.
We should write Pepsi and see if they're interested.
If PepsiCo wants to sponsor this Rag Company podcast, brought to you by PepsiCo. If you're not drinking Pepsi or Diet Pepsi, you don't know what you're missing.
Wow,
the taste that's gonna get you.
All my life,
I don't know what that means.
I've heard the word shill a lot, but at the same time, like that,
it's
that
not a shill if it's a live read.
It's when you own
that's where we are in like 10 years. Like our podcasts are so big to where they're sponsored by Pepsi. That would be the dream, guys.
We're literally turning the bottles so that to make sure Pepsi logo's got to be up front.
We got to have something.
So Pepsi, if you're listening, we would like some.
Contrary to popular belief, I am not sponsored by Red Bull, but
that would be a nice sponsorship, an expensive sponsorship. But a very nice one. So
anyway, so it was good. So had a great weekend. Anthony,
how
was yours?
I did some detailing over the weekend as well. Well, not necessarily detailing, but I did some detailing.
You did
training.
Something fun.
I did. So last week we had a family come into the store, right? Mm-hmm. And it's actually a gentleman that Carolyn got her MBA with. He was in the same class as her when she got her master's degree. So he came in with his boys. He has these teenage boys. I think a couple of them are in high school, and he has one smaller 10-year-old boy that are starting a detailing business, right? Yeah. So they came in wanting to know products and how they could basically get started. And so far they had a trailer. They have a really nice trailer. They had a pressure washer. They had a lot of the basics. They picked up buckets and stuff like that. But as far as products, they wanted the full lineup.
They didn't have any they wanted
Correct.
to learn.
They had done pretty well. They had watched a lot of our YouTube videos online. They'd watched a lot of other people's YouTube videos and kind of got a general understanding, but it was still kind of gathering the concept of what products to use, when and where, which towels to use, because I love their drive though, because it's essentially their dad that's kind of helping him start the whole business. He's very business savvy, but he really wants his boys to build this up. And I mean, let's be honest, guys. I mean, if you're a kid in high school and you're detailing cars on the side with just family, you're going to make a decent amount of money in comparison to, you know, working at your local sandwich shop or doing lawns. I mean, there's a potential there that.
And I look back, and if I could have done this and started doing it, like, it would have been insane. I went to go work at a car wash because I didn't know how to start it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this dad's, I mean, he's really awesome. He's really getting this kid set up. So they came in. I ran through all the different types of products, chemicals, and stuff they're going to need for detailing. I sat with them and I said, hey, what's your procedure? And they said they had a pressure washer and they wanted to use that. Yeah. They said they invested in it and they want to use it. So I said, okay, so most of the time you're going to be doing soap and water washes then. I would imagine you're going to be doing that. It's also going to look pretty cool, and especially since you're going to be mobile.
And especially starting out, I think that's
got
to learn the basics.
Great first place to start. So soap and water washes, they told me, and then they said they're going to be doing, you know, kind of putting all the different kids to different tasks, right? You know, one of the boys is going to be doing, you know, getting wheels knocked out. Other kids can start interiors and stuff. And so it was really cool hearing how they had this idea and how they wanted to do it. And so I walked them through products and I kind of showed them everything. And they eventually said, okay, this is great. You're telling us all this, but would you be able to teach us, you know, one-on-one? Is this something that you could do? And I had to think, you know, as far as time goes, you know, what kind of time do I have to do this? And so I said, how about this? Let's meet up on a Saturday morning or on a weekend. I'll come over. You'll have everything set up at your house, and I'll kind of run through everything after you pick up your products. And so they placed a big order, got a bunch of cool towels, got them started off with a good variety of towels, and I kind of taught them the basics of color coordinating, especially for people that are new to it, color coordinating, and then also different styles of microfiber for different jobs. And they grabbed a bunch of each, which is great, and they grabbed gallons. And I told them gallons of product is going to be a lot more beneficial to them in the long run rather than buying little 16-ounce bottles. So picked up their products, and I went out there this last Saturday morning, and it was really cool. I mean, we basically had their mom's car, which was a Ford C-Max, Dane. I thought you might be interested in that.
Hey, they're good cars.
A white C-Max that was just super dirty. It had been on a couple road trips and hadn't been cleaned in a long time. So it was the perfect
test bed.
Perfect car for what we needed to do. So it was awesome. These kids are just super motivated and they're really willing to learn. So it was kind of like I was teaching a clinic where I had, 3 kids and a dad moving around with me to each spot and teaching them things. So basically taught them the 2-bucket wash method. Showed them how their 2 kids could wash an entire car quickly and efficiently. Talked to them about or taught them pre-spray treatments with Power Clean, breaking down bugs, breaking down all the areas that get the most dirt, behind behind the front wheels, behind the rear wheels. The whole back hatch was just absolutely hammered, and then doing pre-sprays on the front bumper to get break down some of those bugs. So after that, we showed him the whole soap and water wash, and it was just really cool because I was really trying to help out the youngest kid the most because he's, I think I'd probably say 10 years old, maybe 11. I want to say around 10, but he was just really interested, and he really wanted to be able to keep up with his older brothers. But his older brothers are like, okay, we want to learn. We don't have time to give him something easy to do. And I'm like, you know what? He's actually going to be the one that could get the most benefit out of this, and he's the one that needs to learn these things because it
goes back to, like I was going to say, the 10,000 hours that Malcolm Gladwell speaks about. Mm-hmm. The younger one is going to pick up he's going to get his 10,000 hours in quicker and still be younger than his brothers will.
Absolutely.
If they keep up at this, he'll be in a better spot. In his life,
he'll be the star, and so
he'll be running and owning a business of his own someday.
Yeah, exactly.
So I really wanted to show him. And it was funny because I think it was in the first, first hour of washing the car, he dropped the drying towel on the ground, right? And he was so bummed they dropped it. I said, hey, that's okay. You're gonna do that. I drop towels on the ground all the time, right?
But don't you dare reintroduce that to the car.
But I taught him. I said, all right, so that towel's done. We're gonna go ahead and set that aside. And so. But the exterior wash, it was really cool showing him how to do that. And I told them, like, you guys have, 3 boys here that are really capable and wanting to learn and do all this stuff. I'm like, you guys are going to move so fast. It took us an hour to wash that car, mainly because I was teaching them how to, doing the 2-bucket method, going from top to bottom, panel by panel, and showing them how I work around a vehicle. But it took an hour to teach them, but I told them realistically, once they get good at this is going to be 15 minutes tops, once you
It's instilling those fundamentals that you need to, it's like anything. If you know the fundamentals, you know the rules, you know how to break them safely and how to, innovate and create new techniques or whatever. You can figure out what works best in a given situation, assuming you know bottom line what absolutely needs to be done and what you shouldn't.
Yeah, and we were talking about it earlier. You were saying that the 10-year-old actually had another job that he had started, which sounded fascinating to me.
This kid, so they had a pressure washer already that they invested in. It was the coolest thing. So they had this pressure washer on a lifted cart, a cart with these big old mud tires on them, and
it's a garden cart.
But it's like big. It's a big garden cart. So this kid, when I guess they had just moved here back in California where he was, a year ago he had started a trash can cleaning business where he would walk around the neighborhood with a pressure washer, attach it to hoses, and offer to clean up people's trash cans and spray them out. And he was making money doing that. So he would just plug in his pressure washer, spray out the cans, get them all nice and clean, soap them up, and then he'd be good to go. He was charging $10-15 a can or something.
So
like that.
Smart. So anybody looking to make a little extra money,
if that's not the sign of an entrepreneur, I don't know what is.
When I heard that and then listened to you tell the story about it, I was like, that kid's gonna be a beast.
Yeah, and that's why I was really trying to spend some time with him with one-on-one and teach him certain things. And so the exterior wash though went really good. I let him play with I brought an IK foamer so they could play with that and shoot the wheels, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And so but initially I had him pick up just the basics, right, the foundation basics of what they need to wash a car, right, which is going to be your power
vacuuming,
power clean. I got him some car wax, got him some things like that, and eventually they're wanting to take things to the next step and learning claying and polishing, and I'll get to that here in a second. But interior wise, I told them interiors, it's a very important thing, and I really tried to instill that into them and say, when a customer is sitting in their car, the first thing that they're doing is they're sitting in, what's everything they're touching, right? That's all got to be the cleanest things. Their steering wheel, their glass has to be clean, no streaks or anything like that.
Smudges.
Their dash, you clean everything that they're visually going to see. That's the most important part. So I had him sit in the car and I asked him, okay, what's the first thing you're seeing when you're sitting in this car? They say, okay, the steering wheel. I said, okay, that's important, right? The gauge cluster, all the little controls, all of that, all that's really important stuff. So teaching them that and teaching them, because they asked me, do they do interior, do they do exterior first? And I said, because you guys are mobile, you're going to have to learn to change on the fly, right? You can't always do interior first, because if you're working in direct sunlight at a certain point of the day, right, you need to be able to adjust to what's necessary. Right. And so if you have cloud coverage for an hour or two, right, knock out the exterior, right, and then get the interior, right? If you're working where the sun is working against you, especially with the summer coming up and they're going to be out in the middle of the sun in Idaho heat, it's not going to be ideal because they don't have a distilled water purifier yet. They're just going to be using the hard water. I said that can be a curse if you're not fast. So teaching them all that, which was really cool, interior vacuuming and all that. Showed them how to use the crevice tool, showed them how to clean out the carpets and do all of that. But then we had about an extra hour or so after all that was taught where they had picked up some junkyard hoods and they had picked up some Harbor Freight polishers.
Again, smart kids.
They got some dual action polishers, and they came into the store, and I got them set up with some Lake Country backing plates and some Lake Country orange pads. And I said that this is going to be the best way to start off.
Yep.
And I got them hooked up with hyper polish.
Yeah.
So I basically explained that hyper polish, it's something you can use on pretty much anything and everything. You're not going to screw anything up.
And an orange pad is
the
simple,
basics.
Easy. You can use it on everything.
Correct. And so they were timid about it. Even their dad was a little timid, like, oh, I don't know if I want them polishing. There's a lot that can happen. And I explained to him, like, it sounds scarier than what it is. So it was really cool. We went to the garage. They had all the panels set up, and they had a tan hood from some, I don't know what it was, maybe an old Cadillac. And then they had a black door that was off some, it looked like GM paint, probably off of some, I don't know, Tahoe or something like that. And so we went to the door, and I asked, who wants. I did a demo really quick with one of them with the 5-inch backing plate and the 5.5-inch pad, and then I said, who wants to do this? Right after I did the demo, and the dad immediately, suggested that his oldest son, Richie, should do it. And but I could look behind me and I see the little 10-year-old. He's already holding up his polisher with his little 3-inch pad on there, and he was ready to go. And he kind of put his head down like, oh, okay. And I said, hey, no. I'm getting you in on this first. So I kind of masked off the door with some masking tape, and I said, this whole bottom of the door I want you to do. So they had these flashlights here. I pulled out a flashlight, and I showed them what the paint looked like beforehand, showed them what swirls looked like. And I said, what do you notice about this? And they said, there's spiderweb scratches. And I said, exactly. Now our goal is to try to minimize those or remove those with what we have currently, which is just going to be an orange pad and hyper polish. So I showed the little kid. I said, all right, here you're gonna basically make an S, and I showed him how to cross hatch. Yeah. And I said, you're gonna be making an S going this way and an S going this way. So it's funny because he puts on the polish and turns on the machine. I'm like, oh wait, pat it onto the door, and I got a little splatter on me, but it was okay. So it was just awesome though, because he worked it in. I kind of guided him, showed exactly what to do, and then I said, all right, that's good. Now we're gonna wipe it clean. Handed him a towel, and I said, all right, you guys ready to see the results? And they said yes. Turn on the light. Showed them the before, showed them the after, and all of them were like, he just did that, and I said, yes, he did. He just corrected that paint, and it was perfect. He did an awesome job. So it was super cool. And his eyes lit up. His eyes, he looked at his big brothers like, look at me. I polished this area, and I said, all right. Awesome. So I got everybody else in on it and showed him like a brief tutorial. And we didn't go super in depth. I just kind of showed him just the basics because I said, you guys have these junkyard hoods and a door. You can play around forever. And so they were really afraid. They said, what's the worst thing that can happen? So I went over to the hood. I turned on the machine. I flipped it sideways, and I had the machine slide across the hood. And I said, that's the worst thing that could happen if that were to happen. And they said, okay, well, how long will it take to burn through the paint? So I grabbed the machine. I put some.
Remember, folks, this is a Harbor Freight DA.
Yeah, put some polish on it. Cranked it up to a speed setting of 6. Put as much pressure as I could on that thing, and I just ran it for about a minute and a half straight. And they just looked, and they're like, don't you have to lift it soon? And I'm like, oh, yeah, we'll lift it here in a second. And I lifted it up, and I said, all right, what do you guys see? Do you guys see any damage? And they say, no, it looks okay. And I said, okay, well, then this should make you feel a little more comfortable. Is this going to be the case on every vehicle? No, but it just goes to show that this isn't something to be afraid of.
Yeah, and it goes back to, their dad probably heard the stories about rotaries.
Rotaries, yep.
And that's the beauty of a DA polisher, is that it's very safe, it's very easy, and anybody can use it.
Yeah.
And when it came out, it took, rotaries took a year or two to actually properly train somebody to be comfortable enough to be able to do stuff with a rotary, to be able to get really good results with it. And that was a long time consumer. But with the DA polishers and the little Harbor Freight guy and the Puerto cable and those, anybody, a 10-year-old, can polish the paint and do it safely and effectively.
Yeah.
I was loving everything you were telling me when you were
it was super cool. But I mean, just seeing this little kid's eyes light up, and I look at him like, if you're doing this right now and you keep this up, right, you build this business up, through the next, in 10 years from now, you're going to be 20, right? You're going to be probably making more money than any other 20-year-old your age, have all your friends.
And no one else your age is going to have a decade of experience already.
Exactly. Yeah. This is going to put you through college.
And you think about the amount of knowledge available now.
Oh, it's much more easily accessible
insane.
now.
If that kid has a fire and a passion for it, and he keeps fostering that and fueling that, it's just like you're saying. I can't even imagine.
And I told him, and I said, I don't want to see you just doing wheels. Because his brothers could easily say, okay, you just do wheels or you just do this. And no, I say, this kid, whenever he grabs a pressure washer and shoots it, he kind of
knocks himself
over. But I said, all right, so maybe don't give him a pressure washer. He can handle the Harbor Freight machine. I saw it firsthand that he could do that.
Have him polish all the lowers of the car.
His only weakness is really just his height. He can't reach certain areas, and that's where his older brothers can help. So, but it was really cool. They asked questions, and they asked good questions. They say, what can I polish with this stuff? Can I polish the windows? I say, yeah, you can polish the windows. They say, can we polish this trim? I say, yes, you can polish this trim. And I kind of walked through the basics, and I told them, we didn't clay anything. They didn't have a clay bar yet. And I said, go pick up a clay bar, pick up some lubricant. They picked up O&R. So I showed them the infinite uses of O&R, and their mind was blown. And then, the interiors was awesome because we went to their front seat on their tan leather interior on their dad's truck. And I had the little iron brush, the VLB, the little yellow guy, and I did a 50-50 shot. And I showed them. I was cleaning one area, and they say, "Oh, it doesn't look that different." And I wiped up with the towel, removed the tape, and they all look at each other, and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" And I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty crazy the differences that you'll get." And so they have great products to start with. I was really pumped that they were able to get good towels and get some awesome chemicals to get started with. And I told them that this is what's going to separate you from the $50 scratch and shine, because they say, what do we do when it comes to competition with these other washes, these other washes that will do all this stuff for cheap? And I say, it comes down to experience. It comes down to educating your customers. It comes down to show them the products that you're using and then showing them results, and it's all word of mouth after that. And I said, people are going to want to support you because you are kids. I told them that that's great that they're doing this, and I think that they're going to, with time, really kick some butt.
That's awesome.
At a certain level, you're not really even competing with those guys, because those guys are all competing with each other for the lowest common denominator. You're going after somebody who really cares about what they're doing, and you got to educate people.
Well,
That's the biggest
and you think
thing.
about it in the neighborhood. Let's just say they start out in their neighborhood, and they go around with a flyer, and they wash neighbors' cars. And can we come over and wash and wax your car? This is all just like any other detailer when he's starting his business. They're just starting the business. You got to cut your teeth somehow. You've got to learn how to do all this stuff. And the best way is to just start it and do it and get it going. And, I used to walk around with a lawnmower and knock on doors and go, I'll mow your lawn for $20 or $10 or whatever the lawn size was. And some people would say yes, some people would say no thanks, we do it ourselves, But when I was growing up, there was nobody walking around going, hey, we're going to wash and wax your car for $50 or $40 or whatever. I don't know what they're charging, but I mean, if kids walked up to my door and said that, and I looked out and I saw the products that I see, let's just say, like, I'd be like, all right, cool, go for it.
Absolutely.
And that goes a long way.
It doesn't, it looks professional. It's like, whoa, these guys maybe, they
when
come
a kid
looking
shows up with
professional.
like a beach towel and a little, bucket and stuff, I mean, they're trying.
But
at the same time, when you look the part too, and you're really trying to put out that air of professionalism and stuff, it doesn't matter what age you are. If you can exude that, that confidence, but not arrogance, just confidence, that really goes a long way towards helping you in your business. And, crapping all over everybody else doesn't help lift you up. That's not the way to approach that.
I'm just amazed by it. It makes me, I'm going to do that with the kids when they get bigger.
No, I thought it was so cool just to see, but how awesome
of that dad to see that and want to foster that.
And it wasn't like it wasn't like some of the kids just weren't into it. It wasn't like the dad was pushing them to do this. I mean, the kids were into it. Like
initially, that's what I was afraid of. Like it's a stage mom kind of situation. It's like
not at all.
Boy,
I mean, because
chances
really great,
are,
actually. Like the youngest kid, right? He had a trash can cleaning business. He knew what it was like to make money.
Yeah.
He is experienced making money, and so even the youngest kid's hooked. Because once you learn that you're making money, it's going straight into your pocket, and he knows that he can do that on a larger scale, make more money, and just split it between his brothers. It doesn't get much better than that. I mean,
and I think that's one of the keys too in kids, is teaching them, one, the value of money, but two, teaching them about money. My kids just now started learning about money and that money can buy them things because they're still little. They're 7 and 4. But they've started figuring out, my daughter's starting to figure out that things cost certain amounts. So she goes and looks at something. She goes, I want to get this. It's $67. We'll just say that. And I go, how many chores do you have to do to get that? And we have a little chart that we have on a wall in our house that says, if Hadley picks up the books in her bedroom, she gets 50 cents. That's and I write it out. 50 cents equals half of $1. If she helps mom fold clothes, she gets $1. And so she looks at it, she'll go through and she'll read it, and she'll go, if I do all these, I could make $5.
Yeah, that's $67. Right? Suddenly you appreciate that really is.
So then I go, well, how long would that take you? And she was like, well, I can make $5 on doing the chores. And I go, $67 minus 5 is still $62. You need to make $62. So then she starts thinking of stuff, and then she starts asking her grandparents, is there anything that you need help with that I could get money for? Like, she's 7, but she's starting to figure it out, and Augie's just like, right now, money means Legos.
Yeah.
So, it's fun to see that, but I think that, I had friends whose parents never cared to even let them get a job.
No, they're just like, here's
$50 every week. Here's $50. You just go, that was their allowance. And I was like, man, my parents would give me like a $3 allowance. And if I wanted anything more at 14, like, go work for it. Like, go get it. And so at 10, I was mowing lawns and going like, if I get 4 lawns, I'll make $40 if they're paying me $10 a week. Like,
if I do it all summer, I can buy a car.
I'm gonna make $120 a month. I could buy a new bike. I could buy Reebok pump shoes, because that's what I did when I was 14. I bought myself a pair of pumps.
Oh, baller.
But it's that kind of, you get that, like you said, they start seeing they can make some money.
Yeah.
And I think that helps drive a child to succeed in life, is that quest for that. I'm not saying it's like the be all end all, but I am saying that I think it is an important variable that you need to teach your children. Because I hate to say it, but I've got a sister that was like that.
Mm-hmm. And
granted, she saves her money very well when she gets it, but it doesn't push her to get more of it.
Yeah.
I look at it and go, I have to get more of it because I have kids now that I need to feed and clothe. I have a bigger house I have to pay for.
There's an obligation, a sense of necessity.
I've got a family now, and I want to do things, but I also want to provide for my children.
Correct.
Like, I want them to be able to do this fun stuff,
And there's a certain level of maturity that needs to play a role in all that, because you do want to make that money, but at a certain point you appreciate what the money means, but then you also appreciate what the time with family means. And if you're making that money, it means you're not spending time with that family or those other, friends and people, the relationships. You figure out the balance, and that's where the maturity comes in, is figuring out that balance of all those things.
But I also look at it, Dane, you bought that Volvo.
Yeah.
And you were worried that you were going to have to sell the C-Max to get the Volvo.
Yep.
And you're like, I don't know if I can, but comfortably you could afford to have your Miata, your C-Max, and your Volvo.
Yeah.
It's like you got your
Suddenly,
things.
I got 3 cars, and I never thought I'd be the person who had several cars.
But you make money because then it helps you afford to do those things.
But I'm also not going out like buying new cars I can't afford.
And you're not. You're buying.
I'm a stickler for the used.
Well, and
stuff.
you've got a very nice little Miata that has been amazingly reliable for $1,500. $1,200. I mean, it's a fun little car.
Craigslist find in Oregon, brought it over. No, that was a really fun thing to find, and I got it because I was like, I got a tax return this year. I want to actually do something with it and see. I want to teach myself how to work on a car. So it's been more than the sum of its parts.
But also, if you go to the work that you've done on it, the money you've put into it, you could sell that car for more than what you put into it.
Oh, yeah, I could easily
what you paid
make
for
my
it.
Money back.
And that's one thing also is to teach your
appreciating
kids.
Value, so.
But to teach your kids that kind of thing, like my dad used to do that. He built trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he built a truck and fixed it up. My mom thought he was crazy. She was like, what are you doing? I don't understand why you're wasting time. And he'd rebuild 7387 Chevy pickups, just the square bodies. He'd build them up, buy one, fix it up, paint it, do a new interior, and then he'd put it back up and sell them for, and make a few grand off every one. But he sold 3 of them and had enough money to build his shop in his backyard, which then provided him a spot to actually do all this stuff and
pretty
keep doing
savvy
it.
Dude.
So, so it's little things like that I think we all try to learn from. And I love that YouTube can foster that by having educational things, or they show you how to do that. I've got a friend who just paid off his house.
Oh, nice.
He's 27.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Holy
he's
cow.
on buying his third house, his second rental property.
Oh,
him and his wife.
Man, okay.
And so he's an engineer.
Yeah.
And his hobby is finance. He loves figuring out
Well, that
money
explains a few
and how to
things.
pay off. But that's his hobby.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
my hobby is playing with my kids and working on building stuff and cars and things. I like everything.
High performance Elantras.
High performance Elantras.
Yeah.
You like you're saying that Miata gave you a platform to play with, but you also love doing all your editing, your YouTube, your videos.
I love video
your filming,
editing, and I
your photography,
love cars, so.
all that stuff. But that's your hobby. Like
Yeah.
this guy's hobby is finance.
Yeah.
Like
Money, numbers.
We know somebody else that does that
I'm
on a
just
larger
saying,
scale.
Yeah, but this is I was like, we were talking about him this weekend, and my wife's like, "Oh yeah, did you hear they paid off there?" I'm like, "What? Hold on a second. How did he do that?" Like, but it's that value of teaching your kids. Parents taught him, or maybe they showed him something and something that sparked his interest, where he was like, "Well, I can do that."
And I would never downplay someone's hard work by any means, but there's always small degrees of luck that really get people to the really upper echelons. But hard work absolutely plays a role.
But every single one
I just
of
don't
those,
want people to get a false
but there are a lot of
impression
people
either.
that work hard.
Yeah.
You know, they're given. I've got a friend who is given. He was blessed, but he also lost his dad.
All right.
You know, at a very early age. You know, and. But he still worked for everything that he had. Mm-hmm. It just so happened he was successful on his own right before trust fund kicked in.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. And so it's just like, oh, well, this is just extra money that I can put towards my children's college funds that I've already started. You know, it's little. Yeah. That I like that. I like seeing that.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a lot. You know, I joked that I was a super senior. I graduated after I graduated. Had to go back summer school after I graduated high school for second semester algebra 2. But you know, I look back and I just didn't try. You know, I didn't care.
It's hard to care and hard to try at things that you just don't have an interest in. And I'm right there with you on algebra 2. I had enough math in my system at the time. I was like, this is going to carry me through life. I'm not getting into something that necessarily requires all that math, or and I had just made a decision at that point. Like,
well, so did I. But my problem was I had to retake it like 2 times.
I'm going to dedicate my mental resources to something else that does interest me, that I can excel at.
Yeah. Well, I took it my junior year. Took algebra 2, failed both years, or both semesters. Took it again my senior year, failed failed the second semester of it. So I had to take it after I graduated to get my thing, so I can get my diploma.
Well, and it's like finding that balance between, yes, you should always try and work on improving your weaknesses. I'm definitely someone who believes in that, but at the same time, there's certain things where if you find yourself banging your head against a wall and you're not making any progress, and you know those resources that you have could be dedicated to something where you could improve, send it over there for a while, maybe try again later or something. But you don't
go back
have
to the little kid with the trash can washing.
Fight it. Yeah.
Who thought of that?
That kid.
Yeah.
Like,
because he's just his
phenomenal,
head's full of ideas.
Phenomenal. So, to think about, like, and you wonder, did he walk out and like lift the trash when he had to take out the trash for his job?
Dirty.
Kind of stinks, and he decided to wash it because he watched his dad washing the car with the pressure washer, or spraying off the house. I wonder if other
people got the same
or
problem.
Whatever. Yeah, and then probably brought it to his dad and was like, I wonder if I could go around because I'm too little to push a lawnmower.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd literally never heard of that before that story was mentioned. But
genius.
It makes great sense. And now I guarantee you, people listening to this are going to send their kids out around the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
trash cans. Yeah.
I mean, you think about it. You go to Home Depot and get a $100 pressure washer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just hook it up.
You want toy money? Here you go.
Yeah. I mean, geez, it's killer. So, I just I like seeing that. I like hearing stories about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like knowing about the future of that kid. Like,
absolutely.
You made sure you're going to invite him to our Rupes.
Yeah, so I told him about our future events. I told him that you guys need to come out to this, and I told him that we can talk about more products in the future, and it was cool because I did bring a couple of my Rupes polishers with me out on that Saturday, and I showed him, like I said, okay, here's your Harbor Freight, right? Now here's a 21. I handed him my 21 Mark II, and they were like, oh wow, this is this is a beast. And I say it's a totally different animal. But
then you told him about how I have a Kamikaze Beast backing plate on mine.
Oh, I didn't tell him that.
You're like, and then the next level is where you start messing
you're
stuff
gonna have to train him a
is where
few
you
times
take
before the Kamikaze
off some door
plate
handles
comes in.
with this bad boy.
That gets intense.
So I showed him the 21. They're like, this is so much beefier. And I said, yes, it is. But, you could still do the same job this will do with this. It just may take a little longer. And, I kind of explained that, the Harbor Freight is a great machine for them.
It's a good one to cut their teeth and get their skills down. And
they picked up 2, and I thought it was great that they picked up 2 with different size backing plates, so they can use 2 for different things. And their dad was already, his wheels were spinning. He's like, oh, well, why one person's doing the bigger panels, the other person does the smaller stuff? And I say, exactly, like ideally that's how you would always want it to be done. But so it was pretty cool. It was awesome seeing them getting into it, and I like seeing the future of detailing, and whether it's in the hands of these kids, that's awesome to see. And I say that I kind of explained to them, I just said that you guys are living in a time right now to where detailing is booming, but the products that are coming out are so much better than what they used to be, and
so much easier to use,
so much easier. And I say that this is just, it's great that you guys are doing this now. And so anyways, so I did that. I cleaned up my own motorcycle on Saturday. I did a full wash and detail on that because that thing was getting pretty grungy. And then yesterday I went back up to Tamarack to our wedding venue with my fiance's dad.
Just your motorcycle to take pictures of you and your motorcycle.
No,
the altar.
No. I wish. I literally I was
now
like,
you're giving
when I was there yesterday, I'm just like, I would love to have either my car there with me or cause she's not just marrying me, she's marrying me and my vehicles.
Got the Grom.
Let's be honest here.
But so we went up there yesterday because I'm sure my fiance's dad wanted to see what he's put money towards. So
the bride and Grom.
But
the bride and Grom.
I love that.
Puns.
We should take some pictures when we're up puns. There. So
anyway, continue.
Yeah.
So we went up there and checked that out again, and it was crazy because when we were there a month ago, it was still snowy and cold and 30 degrees, and we went up there yesterday and it was 65 and it was like amazing. So it gave us a much better idea on what it's going to feel like and be like when we get married next year. So we did that, and that was my weekend, man.
Sweet.
It was pretty fun filled. It was good. It was a good time. So
Friday we sent out so many orders.
You were saying this. What's up with that?
I kept hearing it was overloaded down there.
It was, I mean, we didn't even have a sale. No, and you folks were buying stuff left and right. Yep. We had so many that UPS, we called UPS and said, you need to bring a second truck for your pickup this afternoon because we're going to fill one of those trucks and another one. Mm-hmm. And so our UPS driver said, of course, well, not a problem. And he called his boss, and his boss said, yeah, no, your truck's fine. Just take it empty. They don't ever have that much stuff. And we said,
try me.
The only time we call you is when we need 2 trucks.
Yep.
And he said that. He goes, the only time they call is when they need 2 trucks, and that means that they have a lot. And he's like, yeah, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Yep. Oh, we filled his truck. He showed up with a fully empty truck.
Next time you listen.
We filled it totally to the brim, and we still had 42 boxes sitting on the dock. And we were like, you're going to have to come back and we got to get these out. They've got to go today.
Nuts.
Yeah, we're expecting
he showed up, and we filled the truck, and he's like, I still have 42 boxes to fill. And they were like, well, what size boxes? Are they little? Are they this size, the little inspiration boxes? And
we're not that kind of company.
No, they're full 17 case boxes. Like, they're full-size boxes. Yep. And they were like, oh, what'd you fill your truck with? He's like, a lot of that.
Yeah.
Like, we have
Stop asking questions. Send out another truck immediately.
Get another truck here now.
Stop talking, start walking.
Yeah, so they sent another truck to pick up everything, but it was crazy. I was helping Bryant load the truck, and it was nuts. I've never had that. We've never had an order go out that big. The last time was last year. We had a semi. They sent a semi to show up, but we had a couple, like a half a container going out. I think
but it's starting to become more and more the norm.
But this was all local.
Yeah.
This was all local. We had a little bit of an air order that was going to TRC Europe, and but everything else was local.
Yeah.
I mean, it was big for TRC. It was a big TRC Europe order, but it was, the night, like, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. So thank you to all of you that have been purchasing. I know it's that season. Everybody's getting excited for detailing. The sun's come out. There's pollen all over my cars. That was just super fun to see all the yellow pollen residue everywhere. And the bee poop and all that.
Smearing on the car.
Yeah. But So we've got.
I think it's time to start talking about
well,
what's in front
if you're
of us.
watching and you're probably wondering what is
all
all
they're
this,
just starting to like, tell
what
us.
is all this stuff? For those of you that are listening, we have some double black Renny Doyle collection PNS products on here. We're going to be carrying now.
Yep.
In store and online starting tomorrow. We've got the.
Well, you guys, by the time you guys hear this, it'll be.
By the time you hear this, it'll be available now.
Right?
Go on the
Dane?
website.
We're gonna double check.
Yeah.
Usually when we say something's going to be available, it's becoming available as we speak, but just depending on when this
basically
comes
talk
out.
to your dad,
listings are being
it'll be
built.
tomorrow.
So,
So,
okay. Holding them
we
to
should
it.
be launched by Tuesday of everything of the double black collection. So we're going to have the double black inspiration ceramic coating available. It's 30 cc's. It is an SiO2.
Yep.
But one thing I love about this coating, I have this on my Camry right now, is it is super slick. It lasts about 2 years. It's a great product. It's not like all the other coatings. The cool thing about PNS,
it's different.
Well, what's cool about PNS is Dave Phillips is the chemist for
Correct.
PNS.
Yes.
He's one of the owners. Him and his brother Mike own the company, and or Bob,
Yep.
not Mike, Bob Phillips. Sorry,
Yep.
Bob, if you're listening.
Yeah. Phillips always gets us.
But it's Bob and Dave Phillips. Their dad started the company with a friend 60 years ago in California.
Yeah, the company's been around a while.
They make a ton of car wash chemicals. They do create and blend in-house, all that stuff. So anyway, the two sons took over the company. Bob's kind of the face and the salesman of the company, and Dave is the brains and the chemistry behind it. So one of the fun things is that, like our Optimum lineup, there is an actual chemist behind all of these products.
There's one man make this stuff.
There's one man that actually makes it, and that's one of the things I like looking for, because there are so many blend houses here in the United States that we get to see. We get to see guys literally fight online over one product that is the same product that they're arguing about. It comes from the same house. It comes from the same line, comes from the same batch. The difference is they're different colors.
And it's not that we think we know is we know.
Yeah, and when you get into the industry like us, you start learning more and more where things come from. Yep. And for us, that was, I want to make sure we're selling chemicals that not everybody has.
Yeah.
There's a reason we carry it and the reason we like it.
Yep.
And I don't, you sell it to somebody and I don't want them going like, oh, this is just like this.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And then you're competing on price on that stuff. When we can sell something where you're like, oh, that's different.
Yeah.
That does something amazing. So again, Inspiration Coating is here. So you can pick that up. Yep. We've got their paint coating surface prep also available, which you put on to clean the surface, make it free of waxes, oils, all that stuff.
And you would use that, not just on the coating, but you could use that on any type of wax or any type of sealant. You can use that for anything. It's
clear the paint.
It's essentially just a paint prep. Very similar to like doing like an IPA wipe down, but it's specifically meant for clear coat or meant for paint on cars and meant for application of last step protectants.
Yep. And then we've got Bead Maker, which if you have not tried Bead Maker,
I think that one's my favorite.
This is
all
is
hail
the game.
The Bead Maker.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
this is one of those products that you've probably heard rumors. People go, oh my gosh, everybody that uses this stuff falls in love with it. One thing that I love about it, it is a polymer sealant. Yep. It has UV protectants in it. And the UV protectants do mitigate into the clear coat and cross-link and bond with the paint surface and the clear coat itself.
Correct.
The product does also mitigate itself into the clear and cross-link with the clear. So this product does create a very strong bond to the clear-coated surface.
Very similar to like a shell, and it has a cure time.
And that shell, that term, like when we spray this on a car, it feels like it's got a shell on it now. Yeah. It's a very weird product, but it creates this. This is quite possibly one of the slipperiest products I've ever felt on the surface of a paint job.
Yeah,
this rivals just about anything. And you can use it as a quick detailer. You can use it as a drying aid. You can use it on the interiors, on your plastics and vinyl on your door panels. You can use it on the windshields.
Commenters, if you have suggestions, we challenge you to find something slicker than that.
Yeah,
that is just
It's strange. It's like nothing I've ever. I don't want to say strange, but I mean it's strange in a way that it's something I've never used before. I feel like it's something that it totally blew us away when we used it for the first time. It
smells good.
I was just saying, you know what else? It smells good. Because I know for a lot of these listeners out there, they want to make sure what they're spraying smells good too. And that's got it.
And what's fun is if you put the inspiration coating on the car,
it takes it to a whole nother level. It's
one of those things like you guys have to try it. It's if anything, try Beadmaker and feel the car afterwards, and then feel the car 8 hours afterwards.
Yeah, there's a difference.
It's crazy slippery.
Yeah.
So
we tried it on a junkyard
carrying
codes.
that. Yeah.
So next here we have is the Pearl shampoo concentrate. So this stuff is also, I mean, on another level. It's like something that we've never used before, but something that is so so unique in how it can be used in so many different ways. And so you can use this as your traditional car wash soap. If you want to do the 2-bucket wash method, you could do a nice big squeeze of this into your bucket and do your normal car wash. You can use it in a foam cannon. Works great as a foam cannon, produces a nice
it's like a wetter
like a very
foam.
wet like long dwelling foam. It really sheets off and really pulls things off. So we like to use this in the IK foamers. We use 1 tablespoon per the 35 ounces of water in the IK 1.5.
Goes a long way.
And we're using roughly, I would say anywhere from 3 ounces or so inside the bigger foam 9 to give us the proper foam that we like. So it's great as far as what it dilutes to, but one of the coolest parts about it is that it can also be used as a rinseless wash.
Yeah. So you mix it.
Blows people's minds.
Like, wait, is it a soap or a rinseless wash? I don't know.
And and this has been a very popular topic as of recently. So
it's not a new product.
It's not a new product. This has been out for what, a year and a half?
A couple years.
And so it's been out for quite some time. But basically, it is a rinseless wash. It all comes down to your dilution. So what we found as a rinseless, we really liked it as 1 ounce to 1 gallon,
which is a dilution of 128 to 1.
128 to 1, correct. And so you're getting 32 ounces inside here, something like that. You're getting quite a bit. So
a quart there.
Yeah, many gallons. So 1 ounce to 1 gallon is a rinseless wash, and that's the same thing as if you were to foam that. So you can.
And there are guys that are doing the 256 to 1. They are
correct
doing half a gallon or half an ounce per gallon.
Yeah,
and having a great time with it. We found 1 ounce to 1 gallon kind of gave it just the right amount of slipperiness and feeling and all that kind of stuff that everybody
depends
looks
on what
for.
you're after.
Yeah.
Correct. And so we've been using it and loving it. We've been using distilled water. We've been using normal tap water and having awesome results. And so it's a pH neutral soap. So when you are using it with distilled water, you have that safety that you feel like you can use this on paint and you can wipe it up and it's totally fine. So you can do the foam and wipe method.
You can literally do, this is crazy. You can mix it as that rinseless version, put it in an IK foamer.
Correct. Spray your panel.
And foam your rinseless on the panel with Pearl.
And then wipe it up.
And then wipe it off. And then top it with Beadmaker, and your car's slipperier than everything else in the world.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, that combination of two when you foam this and then clean it up with this. And what I really like too is it makes me feel confident going back with another product as well, because like many other people out there, you're thinking, I'm not going to just foam a soap and put it on my car and wipe it, right? What if there's that extra soap residue? And you guys, you're 1 ounce to 1 gallon isn't a whole lot of soap, and so I mean, you have probably more soap than that at a higher concentrate sitting in your door jambs that you forget to wipe up, or soap that sits on your car that you forget to spray off. So keep that in mind. But then when you follow up with Beadmaker, with that polymer, you're neutralizing anything left on the surface and then adding that protection if you are really, leery of that.
It's easily, we were a little skeptical about it, and so we pulled.
You hear those things, you're kind of like,
we're skeptical about most
we were
things.
like, well, let's try it. Let's get on it. Let's do it. And so Anthony and I tried different dilutions. We pulled my car in. It hadn't been washed in a couple weeks.
Yep.
I think we had about 3 weeks of dirt and rain and dust and everything on the car. And we pulled it in. We pulled out our scan grip lights.
Yep.
And we foamed a panel that was filthy, and Wiped it with just a car wash towel.
16 by 27.
Yep, 16 by 27, 320 GSM, 80/20 towel, and wiped it and followed behind it with the lights to check and see if we were going to be leaving a bunch of micro marring.
We were for sure thinking that
like,
this is going
to scratch the heck out of the paint.
This doesn't feel right.
Now, mind you, my car was corrected.
Yeah.
And has gloss coat on it.
Yours was.
So
you'll know if it does something.
So we were going to watch because I was like, this would be funny if we do this and then it scratches and oh my gosh, we won't let everybody know. We won't even talk about this anymore.
We've been testing these for months.
But we've been working almost a year.
Yeah.
And so using that soap, though, it was amazing. I was like, dude, this isn't scratching. Yeah. Look at this. And Anthony's like, holy cow, you're right. And then wiped it. We're like, okay, that's a clean surface.
And you're waiting for the catch. You're like,
we're like, wait, is it gonna streak? Is it gonna get weird? And then we wiped it with bead maker, and it was like, oh,
yeah.
And this is nice.
And then
is it all gonna be this easy?
This is amazing.
It just feels strange when you're wiping foam on the surface, and then you think, okay, what about the foam that lands in the cracks and crevices?
That was a big issue. We were wondering about that. We let it dry.
Disappears. It disappears and evaporates, and it doesn't leave any soap marks or anything like that. You can blow it out if you want to blow it out you can use your mouth and just literally blow on it, and it'll blow out the excess foam. But no, it was pretty crazy. So we've been using Double Black for well over a year now. When Renny first dropped it off, and we washed his. We
washed the Swirl Assault vehicle.
The Swirl Assault vehicle, and we washed, and we did this as a rinseless wash.
We did this on a rinseless wash on his truck that he had just driven up from Big Bear, California, to Boise, Idaho.
His car,
and
he
had bugs all over it, and they'd hit snow and rain, and it was
We got a live stream of that somewhere way back.
It's on the Rag Company
page. Facebook page.
So we were impressed with that as a rinseless wash, and then we had been using it throughout the last year. We used it in different clinics. We've been using it for fun because we actually really like the way it smells. It smells like lemon. Has a really nice, just a really slippery,
good feeling.
Yeah. But I think this is definitely a one-hit wonder in terms of not one hit. I guess it does it's a triple threat. It does three different things, and
kind of not the same thing.
Yeah, not the same thing. I mean, it's a wonder for us.
It's one of those that you can add to your arsenal and have it for any situation.
Yeah.
Whether it be just a traditional soap and water wash with a bucket, or you want to foam it, or you want to rinseless it, or you want to foam rinseless it.
And it's safe in all those different versions.
It's totally safe.
I know people are always
pH
concerned
balanced.
about that, but
it's a biodegradable too.
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's environmentally safe, so it can go down drains and whatnot. So it's
awesome stuff.
It's awesome. So we have that. Next that we picked up is just an extra interior product.
It adds to an interior product that we didn't have current in our lineup, which is Terminator. It's their enzyme spot remover. So this has a bioenzymatic enzyme in it. One of the great things, if you don't know about enzyme carpet cleaners, is their primary job is to attack a stain and break it down into either a hydrogen particle or an oxygen particle, which then allows for when you steam or you shampoo or one of those things, it takes that and it bonds. Those particles can then bond to the water particle, so that the stinky particles or the stain-causing particles or any of that kind of stuff can attach to the water more easily, thereby being able to be removed because you're now removing the water. You're extracting, or you're using steam and you're wiping with a towel, but those little particles will attach to it. It works great on stains and pet stains and dirt, grease, all that good stuff.
That's really important.
And it smells really good. So I took some of this home this weekend, and we had a couple stains on our carpet. They weren't even stains. They were just like, it smelled kind of like our stairs smelled like feet.
Yeah.
Little funk.
Yeah. And I was like, my wife was like, I can smell it. And it was, the house got a little warm, and she hadn't turned the AC on yet. And she was like, I was sitting there, tying my shoes, and I turned around to smell like the runner on the carpet. And she's like, oh, it kind of stinks. And so I just hit this. I just sprayed. I walked to the top of the stairs. I had some of this, and I had an IK multi-sprayer with O&R in it at 256-1, and I just sprayed the 3 steps. I took the carpet brush that we have, the stiff bristled white brush for tires or carpet, and I just scrubbed those steps.
Yep.
And then I just let it sit for a bit. I sprayed the next 3 steps, and then I misted O&R on top of those 3 that I just hit, and then took my towel that I had in my hand, and I just wiped up that part of the carpet, and worked my way down the steps. And this has a really nice scent, really fresh scent, clean the scent. And then we left when her family came over, her aunt, and we left the house and went to go grab pizza sticks or something for dinner. And we came back, and I looked at the carpet, and I was like, holy cow, like, it was it looked like I'd shampooed the stairs.
Yeah.
And all I did was just spray some of this and a little bit of O&R and a scrub brush and then wipe it with a towel. But it came out looking great. I sat down, sniffed the stairs, did the sniff test.
Yeah.
Smelled great, looked great. I was like, okay, I love this. I love this product.
Well, and like you said, it's an enzyme, so it breaks things down. And you don't have to have a steamer. It says on here you don't have to. You can use a brush, and you can use a vacuum if you want to do it like that. And that's what I did on the Civic. So when I took this home last week, and I was playing with different, different uses of it. So in my Honda Civic, if you guys go all the way back to the very beginning podcast, I'll explain to you that I picked up this Civic, and it was covered in dog hair.
Yeah.
My car still at sometimes
smells like a dog.
And it does. And I've cleaned it. I've power cleaned it. I've O&R'd. I've done all this stuff to try to neutralize that scent. And
I'll remind you guys, we don't have access to an extractor.
Correct.
We don't have a steamer. Those are items on our wish list to put into our studio. But we're working and building as we need.
Well, we're not a full detail shop.
Yeah, we're not an actual detail shop.
We are a retail company, and we sell towels. So
any of you that want to donate a steamer or an extractor to us, get in touch with Levi at theragcompany.com. We'll talk, and maybe we'll put you on the website. Shout out on the podcast.
For companies wanting their
Terminator, Mighty, any of you guys.
What I was saying, though, is I brought it home. I sprayed it on just my passenger seat. It's all I had time to do, because that's where there was a really strong dog smell to it. And it was always like right after it rains for some reason, and then the sun hits, my windshield, and it somehow like weirdly bakes it in, like the humidity.
It's a terrarium with wet dog in it.
That's kind of what it smells like. So I sprayed this on just to the backrest on my passenger seat. I let it sit there. I grabbed one of our just our white bristle, stiff bristle brushes,
carpet brush,
and
same brush.
Just rubbed it in. Didn't really create too much of a lather or anything like that. I just simply worked it in.
You just agitate it.
Yeah, just agitated it. Went back with my shop vac, put on my little brush feature, whatever it is, where it sucks things up, and I went back over it. And it's been 5-6 days now, and I haven't smelled a dog smell coming from that. And I've been checking every day. I'm like, is it back yet?
That's one of the things about an enzyme remover, is that it helps attack those smells.
Yeah.
So it works great. So, I mean, even if you're not doing a lot of this is a good product to have at home if you have pets, things like that.
I'm going to get a bottle of that.
Combined with this and maybe some,
for inside the house, if the dogs, something didn't agree with their stomach and
it's it's always a good
considering
kind of
what a specialized pet stain remover product can cost. It's like,
absolutely.
And that's we always had that in my shop. I always did that. So we'd use an enzyme remover first. That was the first thing that we would spray on the surface to break things up on really bad cars. Right, customers that were like, I have a really bad smell. We'd use enzyme. We'd use an enzyme remover first. Otherwise, we would just use Carbon Fabric Clean and Protect and pre-soak with that, then shampoo, do all that stuff. But we'd always finish with an enzyme. So once the carpets were shampooed and cleaned, we'd just spray the enzyme again just to help neutralize all those odors, and then we'd take a towel and wipe all the carpets down just to get them, because there was, just to make sure it gave us that much more. And then usually we'd use an ozone generator or something if it didn't get it. But, 80% of the time, that was all we needed.
And this is something that we didn't carry anything like
we
this.
didn't have anything in the lineup.
We didn't have anything like this.
Carbon Fabric Clean and Protect is an amazing product, but it's not an enzyme remover.
No, it's not.
And that's what I was going to get at. You can clean up a mess, but if you don't get rid of the odor-causing elements as well, then you're left with that.
For example, I mean, like my Civic, I cleaned it up. I did everything I needed to do.
Or let's say you spilled a bunch of coffee.
Oh, what's that?
All over your car.
Well, but I would leave that because coffee smells nice.
So anyways, what this is going to be probably giveaway items in the future. Yep. We're going to figure out fun ways to get this in people's hands. So this is the Double Black Swirl Killer Serious Coffee for serious detailers.
So this was a promotional piece that PNS put out for Christmas. Yeah. And so you guys have probably seen it on social media. Folks were getting I got one of them, and it was a PNS coffee mug, a double black coffee mug.
Yeah.
With the Swirl Killer coffee. There was a lot of detailers that were getting these sent to them by PNS. And so I was very thankful and excited to get it. I don't drink coffee, but
I do. I tried it. We brewed some in the office, and it's dark. I just letting everybody know it's a strong coffee.
So it's a coffee for me.
It's a coffee for Dane.
It'll put you on your butt. And
hanging out with Bob Phillips last week at the car wash show, he had brought it up. He was so excited just that we were carrying double black. He goes, I'm going to send you guys coffee so you guys can start promotionally giving them away. So you're going to need to stay tuned on our Instagram.
Yeah.
We're thinking that we are going to be building a double black kind of wash kit.
We are.
And for the first few that are sold, we will alert you guys, and we'll do a Facebook Live and Instagram Live and all that when those packages go live. The first few packages will get double black thrown in, probably the first 10.
I'm thinking
maybe the first 10 bucket kits will get a thing of coffee in there so you guys can have some coffee and wash your car. Yeah. And then we've got other stuff
jacked
going.
Up on caffeine.
Get that energy bill.
But then, we'll probably throw it into Towel Guest giveaway as a gift.
Yeah.
We've got lots of stuff that we can do over the course of the year with the Swirl Killer coffee. So it'll be fun. So we're excited, like I said. And then we've got the guys coming in October.
Yep.
Bob and Renny will be coming to Boise on the 12th
of
October. We're going to be doing lots of detox and filming. You guys can go back and listen to Detox with Renny, where he talks about Bead Maker and talks about developing this line and all that kind of stuff. You can go back further and watch the Air Force One detox videos where we sit down with Dave and actually kind of talk about the story of PNS and how he got started with
from
his
underneath
stuff.
the Concorde.
From underneath a Concorde jet. So that's really cool. So if you are interested in more, seeing the stuff, we do have it in our video series on YouTube. You just got to go back a little bit, at least a year.
So this has been something that, we've been building this relationship, and this is something that's been in the works for well over a year. And so we don't want people to think that we just sprouted this out of nowhere.
Stuff like this doesn't just happen out of the blue.
This is something we don't take on. We get contacted by companies all the time, saying, "Hey, is this something you'd want to carry?" And we'll get sent some samples. We get sent what did we get? We got a can of that aerosol.
There's a lot of questionable things.
We get a lot of the weirdest cleaners out there, but we get contacted a lot about possibly distributing other people's products, and we're really picky because we want something that we like and something that we actually see ourselves using. And then when we started using this stuff, it was like no doubt.
And the whole line is great. We didn't take the whole line. We took parts of it
that
we thought would benefit our philosophy and what we currently sell. And things that we thought you guys would really like and benefit from. There are, a lot of great other products, but for us, we like to limit the amount of stuff that we sell. We don't want to have a ton of stuff.
We know we already overload people with 150 plus different kinds of microfibers. So, there's a reason for it, though. There are reasons.
We sell towels. That's what we do.
Primarily.
The products here are designed because we like them, we use them, and we want you guys to get that benefit of, saving you time, saving you money. I love the reason that, one thing I love about Bead Maker is it can be used on the interior too, on the plastics, which looks awesome.
And I like that it does what it says. It
makes beads.
Yeah,
it does make beads.
You guys can make fun of the name all you want. But it does what it says. So
it literally does that.
Yep. I remember I put inspiration on, and then I had Bead Maker, and about a week later it rained. And I came out of the grocery store, and there was just a ton of beads, and I sent you guys a photo, and I was like, here's Bead Maker doing what it's supposed to be doing. And it was just perfectly tight little beads all over the car.
Like, well, that's a good sign.
I was like, that looks really good. Like, that was a very satisfying photo.
And that has me thinking
pretty stuff.
We're probably nearing the tail end of the podcast, but that reminds me, the meanings of words, right?
Yeah.
And, just
making
like
beads.
what something that does what it says. Sometimes I kind of wonder, what does that word mean?
Well, and we had discussed this earlier. One thing that we're going to do on our next podcast, and one thing we want you guys to do as well, is contribute. Dane down below on the comments,
Yeah.
or send us emails, Levi@theragcompany.com, Dane@theragcompany.com, Anthony@theragcompany.com.
Yep.
You guys can send us your email ideas or comments or anything like that. But going back, talking about like those young kids, learning how to detail, they have no idea terminology.
Yeah.
Right? They're still learning. And
it's not that detailed vocabulary.
They have to learn that vocabulary or things that, maybe it's trade talk.
Information overload out there too right now. So
one thing we wanted to talk about in the next podcast is just definitions, and maybe giving you guys like the baseline definitions of, we say microfiber when we talk about towels. Well, that's because one, microfiber towels is the makeup. It is made of microfiber, which is a very small fiber. It's not a cotton. Yeah, it is it's called a microfiber because of the size of the denier of the fabric. Yeah. So we thought we'd give you guys some topics. Here's this microfiber. Here's the definition. The one we hear a lot is a wash and wax.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Yeah.
It sounds like you'd know what it means, but some people have some very different
definitions. Depends on how you use it.
Yeah. Playing the car.
Yeah.
To some kids, they'd be like, what?
Or just decontamination in
general.
You're
trying to say, hey, you got to clay the car. Yeah. They're like, with clay?
They go and grab their Play-Doh.
Put Play-Doh on it? Yeah. So
iron decontamination, right?
Yeah. They're like, what iron? Does the fender fall off?
Buffing.
Like, little things like...
You see the word buffing everywhere.
Right. Buffing. When we used to have old guys that would call and go, I want to get that cut and buff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or you got people who say, oh, I just polished my car.
When what they really mean is...
maybe they just washed it.
Or maybe they waxed it and they thought polished wax. Like
So we wanted to we're going to go through and we're going to give you guys definitions. So we'll pull, if you guys have some sayings that you've heard that maybe you want the definition for, or a saying that you guys know and you know the definition of, give it to us. Put it on there and we will let everybody know that same thing.
And we'll try and be really, fair about it. We'll find like textbook definitions.
Yeah, we're gonna do dictionary
stuff.
definitions so people know. We'll also do definitions for like polymers. Emulsifiers.
Yep.
Encapsulation.
Humectants.
Stuff
any
like
of that
stuff.
That
I think it behooves us to become better detailers, to learn all those kinds of topics. When I say, what UV polymers or cross-linking means, or mitigating the clear coat.
Because the problem is people hear those terms and they feel like you're deliberately just making up phrases so that you can somehow like hand wave something. Oh, this magic happens, and then this does. And there's actually purposes and meanings behind these words. They're not just made up to be like, oh, and then we get this result. It's not. I don't know. It's easy for people to write it off if they don't understand what they're being told.
But if you can learn it very simply and very easily, like if we were going to teach this 10-year-old how to do this stuff, the key is to make it simple for everybody.
Correct.
And if you get too crazy and too not sciencey, just too heavy on the definition and the terminology, people tend to kind of shut down a little bit.
Yeah.
They can't.
They're like, I'm lost.
I don't know.
Like detailer to detailer, acronyms make sense and stuff like that. But detailer to person learning,
well, and you got to think about
a learning curve.
Well, and you've got to think about if you're selling to your customers, you're going to sell a product to your customers. You need to make it simple for them to understand. I've used that analogy of coatings, sealants, and waxes. And I did it this past weekend in Vegas. I had a couple, and they were like, so what's the difference between a coating and a sealant? And why can't we just do a sealant? And they own a car wash, and they are starting a detail facility, and they've got their own product line and all kinds of stuff. And one of the terms that I used for them was I said, all right, your detailer is going to polish your paint. And as a detailer, let's say you do a paint correction before you're going to install any level of protection. So I don't care if you did 4 stages, 3 stages, 2 stages. You did a paint correction. The paint is flawless. Yep. Now, translate that into your skin, on your body. You are naked.
I am.
Right?
Oh, you're okay.
Anthony's like, wait, we're all naked in this
what's
room?
Going on? I got lost in your eyes as you
your
said
skin,
that.
So think about if you're just standing there naked and you have to go outside.
Correct.
Okay? Now, you have just wiped yourself down with alcohol.
Yeah.
It's a little stingy, but put it this way. But you have there are no waxes, there are no oils. Your skin is clean.
Yeah,
you're
no
exposed.
Lotion. You are exposed.
Yep.
Your pores have opened. All that kind of stuff.
Cracks and crevices of your skin.
Yeah,
clean.
So your car, after an alcohol wipe down or paint coating surface prep or paint prep or panel wipe or any of those products on the surface of the car. Now the car is naked.
Yep.
Next step. First step, if you think about if someone wants to just get a wax job, they just put a coat of wax over that surface. Mm-hmm. It is good, but what is the real time that wax will last? 3 months, maybe?
Yeah. Maybe 5.
Maybe 5.
Maybe.
So
depends.
So that's a wax, 3 to 5 months protection.
Mm-hmm.
I translate that to customers as a t-shirt and shorts.
Yeah.
So you're naked and you put a t-shirt and shorts on. You're protected.
Not bad.
You're not bad. But it's not going to be great when it's 0 degrees outside.
The harsher things are going to affect you more.
Yeah. It's not going to be as great when it's 150 because you're still hot and you're still going to be sweaty. But it's giving you something. You're not fully going to sunburn like crazy. Yeah. So then the next step is a polymer sealant. Mm-hmm. Just a normal liquid polymer sealant. That is your long sleeve shirt and maybe pants.
Yeah.
So it's a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, in the extremes, it's not the best protection.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll get 6 months of protection out of like a polymer sealant and maybe then some 6 to 9 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is better than say 3 to 5.
Yeah. Yes.
But
it is.
But it's still not great. Yeah. And this all, again, handles where you're from, where you live, how you wash your car, all that stuff.
There's still a ton of variables.
Yeah. But it's something that's better. It's a little more coverage than the T-shirt and shorts. Mm-hmm. And then your ceramic coating is maybe snowboard pants and a winter jacket and a ski jacket.
Yep.
It's better, but again, it's not great in all situations, but it's a lot of protection. You feel more protected. Mm-hmm. And it's going to last a little longer. You're going to get 2 to maybe 5 years of your coating with that. And then you can do extra things. You can add clear bra. You can do toppers on top of that. You can do different things.
Yeah.
And so that's one way to describe. So you keep it simple for your customers. And so the goal of this is that we want to teach you guys some of these terminologies and these things that you can then pass on to your customers when you're trying to sell them on a service or a product.
Yeah. Or you're just trying to sound smart in front of all your friends.
Or you want to sound smart in front of all your friends.
You're like,
or you're the 10-year-old little brother who's like, hey, guys, I know what humectants are.
Yeah. Well, aren't you cool?
I just put a jacket on my car. People are like, what? I just put a coating on my car.
There you go.
My car, I wiped it all down, and then I threw this, it was a little dusty, so I threw a cover on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anthony's got a snowboard jacket, and I'm going to throw a cup of water on him.
It's funny because then you actually say, well, I got a car cover, and we're like, no, that's worse than everything.
You just mummified yourself. Why would you do that?
Why would you do that? And they're like, isn't that the best? Isn't that better than everything? Like, no,
it's kind of loose, and there was a dust storm recently.
Yeah.
It's in there crazy.
Yeah. So, next week we're going to go over a lot of these topics and all these vocabulary.
And we'll take probably a top number of the most popular ones that we've received multiple requests for.
5 to 10.
Because we can keep doing this. Maybe throwing a few in future shows just here and there as we keep getting them in. Because we'd love to see what you guys have for suggestions. I know there's definitely some out there.
Yep.
But it'll be cool to see.
Yeah,
nice.
We're excited.
Yeah, so I think that sums it up here for us, unless you guys have anything
I'm
else.
good.
Nope.
I'm good.
So, just go on the site. We are fully stocked with some double black. We are fully stocked with our Rag Company swag.
Yes,
so I just picked up our shirt order and our hat order.
Nice.
So if you've been wanting to buy shirts and hats, if you've been wanting to buy the Master of Shine hat, it's back in stock. If you've been wanting to buy any of the shirts, we've got them. Wash Wednesday shirts, Rag Company shirts, all our classic stuff. And then also we have a new hat that we have debuted. It's on the website.
It's pretty cool.
You're going to have to take a look at it.
It's a simple hat.
It's a simple hat.
Yeah, but I love it. It's awesome.
It's a snapback, flat bill, just like the others, but we did a full color logo. So if you wanted one, now you can get one of those. It's pretty dope. But you have to check it out on the site. So buy them.
Yeah.
And if you haven't signed up for the program, because it'll get you actually 15% off all our swag.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you run a business or you manage someone else's business, you're in charge of purchasing and stuff. Sign up for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not that hard. Anyway, guys.
Hey, look, we're all wearing Rag Company shirts today.
We're all swagging it up
different
here.
ones.
And on that note, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube at the Rag Company channel, thank you for listening. If you're on iTunes or shoutengine.com, you can always search the Rag Company podcast there. So with all that said, this is us saying adios.
See ya,
guys.